Let's talk about crafting a corporate message in public relations. So we've gone through the advertising side, wanting people to actually buy something and take action. We've gone through journalism, where we've talked about really crafting a story and figuring out who your audience is, how you're going to tell it to them, and why it's important. But what about public relations? Well, there are a lot of similarities between public relations and journalism as far as storytelling. Ultimately, you're identifying an audience and you're trying to give them information. Except with public relations, you're actually trying to influence them one way or the other, usually within the interest of the company that hires you, hopefully. So in this case, let's take a company like Coca-Cola. And Coca-Cola would like to craft a message around a new product or a new service that they're doing. One that recently just came out is they're opening up stores in Central Africa that provide water and Wi-Fi. So they're dropping off these kind of store-in-a-boxes, and it's this new campaign that they're coming out with. Now, a news story could go after this and say, well, is this good? Is this bad? Is it healthy for people in this area to be drinking Coca-Cola? There are all of these questions that you could ask. If you're on the side of Coca-Cola in this case, you're going to want to be spreading the message of obviously the positive effects that Coke is having on these people's lives in Africa. So you might highlight how the stores get there, how they're being a job creator or employing people in Africa, how it's providing water, essentials even like Wi-Fi into these remote areas, how it can improve safety because there's now connectivity. And some of the things you might do is you might end up hiring a production crew to go and make a documentary about this. You might hire a photographer to go photograph this. You would actually do media handouts. You would contact news organizations around the world that might want to tell this story and try and provide them with as much information as possible so that they can also tell your story. Studies have shown that actually the organic news story about your organization is up to 10 times as effective when it comes to getting your message out. So you could buy an ad in that newspaper saying, look how great Coca-Cola is. But if you happen to get an article published that says, look what Coca-Cola is doing, you're getting much more influence. People find that a little bit more believable coming from a nonpartisan news organization. So really, public relations has many facets, some of which is actually helping the media tell stories about your products, some of which is about creating your own stories, your own websites, your own photos, your own video, and distributing them on your own. And actually, now with the advent of social networking, this has become a huge aspect of public relations. The production and in-house communications work has grown because you can now self-publish. So take a story like that and see how can you really develop it and share those thoughts and convey those ideas through those same practices that you're learning in how to write short, through those same conventions that you're learning in writing a news story, except your goal in this is you're working for a client. This could be for a corporation, like you're an in-house public relations specialist within a company like Coca-Cola, or this could be you have your own firm. You're an advertising and marketing agency and public relations agency that is hired by a company like Coca-Cola to tell that story. We see this every single day. Most likely, if you see something on television, especially television, any of those shows, Good Morning America, Today Show, that features a product, most of the time, this is someone from corporate communications contacting the show and pitching a story, pitching an idea, pitching something that they can do to, A, drive their own ratings and have something interesting on their show, but in the interest of the company, promote their product, and not just saying, hey, go out and buy this product, but showing how it's used and showing people using any particular product. I think a great example of this would be if you any of the morning shows that have the Christmas gift guides. I can almost guarantee you most of those Christmas gift guides are chosen by companies. If you ever watched Oprah's show where she does Oprah's favorite things, it's the same thing. It's all corporate communications working together to A, offer some of those shows the best deals to feature those. Often they give the products away. They give them to the studio audience for that airtime, for that publicity to showcase their product. So in this module, you're going to do a couple things. You're going to do a discussion board post about some of your favorite corporate stories, but you're also going to rewrite your own corporate story. You're going to take a company that already has kind of a pretty well-known story. The example that I give is Apple and the Apple iPad. The Apple iPad is used for a number of things, for drawing, for sketching, for emails. But what if you had to rewrite that story? You had to go after another target audience. And the example we give is saying maybe Apple's being used with Doctors Without Borders. And maybe you create a campaign that if you buy an Apple iPad at this time or maybe this specific model, it donates towards Doctors Without Borders. We've seen this with the Red campaign with multiple products. And the Red campaign is another phenomenal example of corporate communications at Work. It's an organization that helps provide funding for AIDS research and AIDS relief, and they partner with other companies, whether it's releasing new products or having special deals, all of which is telling a story about fighting AIDS. So anyway, I hope you're enjoying Professor Tappan's lectures. I hope you enjoy hearing from Professor Cristiano about public interest communications, which is where you take your company's own interests and set them aside for the greater good. Ultimately, what you're doing in that case is your company is being showcased as a feel-good company. People would want to be associated with your company just because that company does so much positive work for the societies that it serves. So as you can see, public relations has many, many facets, from the firms to the corporations to public interest communications. It's a very diverse field, and it's actually a very young field. It's really only been around for maybe 50, 60 years, and ultimately it's just being studied to the extent where we can see some of these new fields emerging, like public interest communications. I hope you're really enjoying it so far. The contact information for Professor Tappan and Professor Cristiano will be on that page, along with all of our guest lectures, so hope you're getting a lot out of those. And you have a quiz coming up, so make sure to study for that, and make sure you stay up on the readings, and I'll see you next time.